Hello, and welcome to FilmSlam Stream's post-film conversation for I'm Not Afraid. My name is Eric Siler, and I'm an instructor of film, media arts, and communications, as well as moderator for this conversation. We are pleased to be joined by the director of I'm Not Afraid, Marita Mayer. Maria is a German-based director, based in Norway, and she has a background in cultural management and education. And she's worked on 2D and stop motion animation projects as well too. She made her directorial debut with I'm Not Afraid, which has screened at over 100 festivals. Hello, Marita, and welcome.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Eric. Nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you as well too. This is such a delightful film, but before I start asking you questions, we may have some students that are joining us that are studying German, and I understand you're fluent in German. Can you say a special hello to those students?
Yes. Hallo, ihr Lieben. Es freut mich sehr, euch heute hier begrüßen zu dürfen. Ja, mein Name ist Marita und ich komme aus Hamburg, aber nun lebe ich in Norwegen. And for everybody who did not understand that, I just said that. Hello, everybody. And now I must admit, I forgot what I said in the second sentence, but basically I said, I'm glad to be here and talk with you or to you. I hope somebody is there and can listen.
Well, great. Thank you for that kind welcome to our English speaking and German language students as well. So let's get right into this film. I'm Not Afraid. Such a delightful film, a warm, I'm not surprised. Well, I am surprised it's at over 100 festivals because that is a lot, but I'm not surprised about the amount of attention that is garnered because of the delightful nature of it. Is this based on a true story, or how did you get inspired to create this animation?
Well, I would not say it's a true story, but it's based on many fears I had as a child, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you and a lot of other kids and also adults can relate to being afraid in the dark. And I had a lot of nightmares. Actually, they only started after I turned 30. So I hope you have more luck with that. And I found it very difficult. My parents had a basement, and the light switch to go into the basement was like a few steps down already. So you had to go into the dark in order to press the light switch. And I thought that was horrible. And also I used to see in every dark corner some shadow monsters. And when I started the production of this film, I also had small kids. They are still small, smaller than you are. But at that point, they also started to play a lot of hide and seek. And also, yeah, being on the verge of finding it interesting to be in the dark, but at the same time being afraid. And at that point, I thought, okay, now I'm have the target group in front of me. Now it's time to, do this story, which I had in my mind actually for a long time. It started out as a picture book 15 years ago, and then it was just in a drawer waiting to be animated. So yeah, it took a long time, but now it's here.
Interesting. So sort of therapeutic. It stayed with you through a number of years. Over those years, tell us briefly about the transition. I know you have a cultural background and an educational background. How does someone go from that into creating animation?
Well, I studied cultural education, which already had a bit of film and writing and fine arts in it, but also like, the education or how to bring the arts to the people. And I always worked with children and young adults, so it was for me natural to go this path. And after studying, I worked for quite a few film festivals and literature festivals, but I also made small animation workshops with children. And but every time I had these workshops, I thought, but actually I want to be the one doing the film and not the one showing other people how to do it. But I did not have the professional knowledge enough to go into the animation industry. So I took a 1.5-year course at the animation school Hamburg, which taught 2D animation, drawn animation. So that's what I did, and that got me into the animation industry.
So when you took the course, did you take the course with the intention of making this film, or you were just purely interested in animation?
Yeah, I was first purely interested in learning, how professional to do animation and not, to professionalize that. And but actually this one of the tasks during that animation course was to pitch a project. So it was more about pitching a project, not about doing exactly that project then. And there I came up with a story. So I pitched that there just as a homework, but it stuck to my head, and it stuck with me, and I knew I had to do it at some point. But the film I did at the animation school was something totally different.
Okay. So you had the animation skills. Now it's time to actually put this film into production. Can you we might have some students out there that are interested in animation. Can you take us briefly through the production process, what you did first and so forth, and the team of people that you worked with to get this film actually completed?
Yes, of course. Maybe many of you will know that there are different animation techniques. So we have drawn animation, then we have stop motion, which many of you maybe know from the Leica studios, for example, Paranorman or Kubo or Fantastic Mr. Fox, if you're into that. And then there's the CG animation, which is basically all the Minion films and the whole Pixar universe. And then there are other animation techniques which are like a mixture of these three. And my film is drawn animation, so it's all in two-dimensional. And the first thing, no matter what sort of animation production you have, first you need an idea, and then it's best to make a script. And as soon as you have the script, you will do a storyboard, which is basically a comic of the script, where you can see all the camera shots, which perspective you want to have, what will happen, who will come into the frame and go out of the frame. And from that, you do an animatic, which is the same as the storyboard, but it's filmed. So you already know how long which scene will be later in the film. And that is, for me, I think that's the most important process, and I will tell you why in a bit, because when your animatic is there, latest then you will, or maybe even before that or at the same time, you will do the voice recording if you have voices in the film. And sometimes you will also already do sound, but that depends on your budget and on many other factors. But as soon as you have the voices, which in my film, we have voices, so we recorded the voices, then we did the animatic to see that all the voices and the pictures fit together at the right time. And then you start the animation process. And after the animation, we did some sound design. That means in addition to the voices, we had like some music. And also when somebody is running, that you hear the steps. Or if you want to hear the jungle at the beginning of the film, then of course you need some jungle sounds. And all that together, then you're actually finished. Then you just have to do the right format of the film, which is DCP, is the common film format you have these days. Digital Cinema Package is what it stands for. And then you send it to festivals.
Just like that.
Just like that. And it only takes a long time.
Exactly, it does. It does. In all that you described, how many of those roles did you take on, and how many other people did you use to work on this production with?
I think we were all together around 20. I actually don't know the exact number, but it was my idea. I wrote the script and I directed. So that means that I made all the important visual decisions. I worked together with a character designer who did the designs of the character, and with a background designer. She did the background. So in the end, you have somebody who does the backgrounds, and then you have somebody who does the characters, and then you have somebody who puts both of these things together, which is called the compositor. And so I was working closely with all of them together because I wanted to have the final decision about what the film looks like, which colors to use, and how everything looks like, because there are so many different styles. I mean, just if you think about all the different picture books that you find, and it's the same with animation. You have so many styles you can choose from, so it's really, you need to have a little bit of a vision what you like, and then most likely it's going to change a lot while you're working with the designers. And then it's important to find something that you are happy with. And then it's also important to find something which is animatable, because sometimes you think, wow, this looks great, but then it's really difficult to animate it. So then you have to make adjustments. And so we had on the team, the people that I worked closest together was my producer, who was important to get all the money and to make sure that the production process works. Then then we had an art director who looked at everything fit together visually, somebody who made the background, somebody who made the characters. Then we had somebody who put it all together later. We had a sound designer and a musician who did the music. And then we had 6 animators who worked together. And those were the most important people that I just managed. And then, of course, you have people who are responsible for the budget and for the finances, and to make sure that everything is on schedule. And I forgot the most important, the children, the voices.
Yes.
So that was, I have to tell you, that was one of the most beautiful things to do, was to record the voices. And one reason was that the main character, it's my son. So we spent a lot of time together in the sound studio, and he was 6 years old at that point. So that was a little bit challenging and needed a lot of sweets to bribe him now and then. But it was a lot of fun to do that together. And then the other voices, the older kids who were with that was pretty easy. They were really good. It was a lot of fun, and it was all kids from the area, so it was no actors, but local kids who wanted to be with, and work with me.
Interesting, bribing your son. What was his reaction to the film once it was completed? Your son's reaction?
Since we produced during Corona, so it was mainly a home office. Mm-hmm. And some of the weeks he was also at home because the school was closed down. And they, of course, heard the whole time when I was playing the animation and listening to it for corrections, everything. Then sometimes they were like, he was like two rooms away or downstairs and I was upstairs. And then he would just shout up the rest of the dialogue or the rest of the sentence that I was just listening to. So they were really, the whole time, thought it was really great. But still, when it was finished, they were pretty amazed. And they also came to some of the festivals with me and were allowed to be on the stage. So I have 2 kids, so both were always with, because my youngest one, we have some breathing that he did in the film. So he was very proud every time his breathing came in the movie. And of course, when they saw their names in the credits, very proud.
Absolutely. The film itself, like you mentioned earlier, this film has been with you for a large portion of your life. You could have taken it in different directions. While I was screening the film, I was wondering, something's going to happen. Then I got to a point in which I said, this is just going to be a delightful film, a delightful ending. Can you tell us why you wrote the story that way, just to be feel good and natural, as opposed to, because in the dark you could have really made it scary, but you didn't. Why didn't you?
Well, my main target group, I know everybody, or most of you who are listening are older than my main target group. So it is aimed at children between 4 and 7. So I found that was one of my biggest challenges, actually, to make a film about being scared without actually scaring the kids I want to watch the film. So of course I had to be careful not to overdo it with the scariness. And my goal was to make children, give them the possibility to own their fear or to own the darkness, because dark rooms can be so exciting, and also shadows, or making shadows yourself, it's so much fun. So I wanted kids to be brave enough to look behind the things that scare them. And I think a lot of times, of course not always, but a lot of times we are scared of things because we don't know what they are. And that's a little bit the theme I wanted to take up in this. And then of course I need a happy end, and I want kids to enjoy the film and be excited, and be scared maybe a little bit, but not too much.
Right. And why do you think this film, usually when you have children in the film, there's some type of contentious nature, there's the bully or something, but everyone's likable in the film. You just like everyone.
That's your opinion. I talked to a lot of kids. So we had some test screenings before, and they said, why is the sister so mean? So because I mean, they are not mean, they are not really bullying them, but they are a little bit like, okay, we don't really want to play with you. We just pretend to play with you, and then we just do our own stuff. Of course, it's not, could be meaner, but I think, I remember that also when I was little, we were a group of 7 kids always playing together, and it was always the older ones, basically making fun of us and giving us the shittiest parts of the game. So, and that's just something I think is so natural. And I don't know, I think it's always good to show positive stories. I mean, there's enough bad things happening everywhere anyway. It's nice to not be too scary or make too depressing films.
Exactly. So what's next for you besides more festivals? Are you working on another animation, or what are you doing?
Yes, I am actually. So I'm working on 2 projects at the moment. The first one is actually, we are trying to develop a TV series based on the same characters, and then with the main character having a different animal costume every episode. And the other film that I'm in production now is an animated documentary about aphasia. And maybe there are not so many people of you who know what aphasia means. So aphasia is an impairment of language after you had damage to the brain. So there are some people who cannot speak anymore, or cannot talk, or cannot read, or cannot write, or they have it all. So it's about children who have a family member who has aphasia and how they deal with that. And that's also aimed at children from age 8 upwards.
Well, you've locked onto something really special with this film and your upcoming project, and I wish you all the best and continued success in all that you do.
Thank you very much, Eric.
It's such a pleasure having you today. Do you mind saying a special goodbye to our German language students?
Of course I will. So I will say it in English first. Thank you very much for listening. It was great to be here. I'm sorry I cannot see you in person, but maybe we'll meet at some point. Vielen, vielen Dank, dass ihr bei diesem Gespräch mit dabei wart. Es macht mir viel Spaß, über meinen Film zu sprechen, und auch wenn wir uns jetzt nicht in Person gesehen haben, hoffe ich, dass wir irgendwann mal vielleicht, dass sich unsere Wege kreuzen. Vielen Dank. thank you so much for listening.
Well, thank you. And thank you to our viewers for joining us for this important and invigorating conversation. For more information about upcoming film festivals, please visit clevelandfilm.org. I'm Eric Siler. Thank you.